And also in some other updates that are just coming in from the new front, there are tensions that are said to be escalating in Israel's border with Lebanon. The Israeli authorities have now announced plans to evacuate the northern city of Kiryat Shimona after days of clashes with Lebanon-based Hezbollah group. Now, this is a border that is heating up as well, but at this moment, there is no specific indications that says that Hezbollah could join this war actively. The Israeli army, meanwhile, has released a lot of new footage of these airstrikes, the relentless campaign of airstrikes that it has been carrying out in the Gaza Strip. It says the targets include anti-tank missile launching posts and also tunnel shafts, intelligence infrastructure and command centers. But looking at the horrific scale of the damage that has been inflicted, what is quite clear is that there are many neighborhoods which hosted many civilians who also seem to have been struck in this relentless campaign of airstrikes that the state of Israel has resorted to. International pressure continues to grow for the release of the hostages that have been taken into custody. The Israeli Minister of Foreign Affairs, together with 22 ambassadors and diplomats from countries whose citizens have been abducted in the Gaza Strip, have called for the immediate release of those who have been abducted. They've also demanded for a visit by the Red Cross to be allowed. The ambassadors and diplomats are from countries including the likes of Tanzania, Russia, Romania, Portugal, Peru, Serbia, Colombia, Austria, Ethiopia, Argentina, Philippines, Georgia, Sri Lanka, France, Mexico, Denmark, Hungary, Italy, Thailand, Canada, amongst others. Meanwhile, hundreds have been rallying for the release of the Israeli hostages who at this moment have been held in the Gaza Strip. And there are also massive rallies that have been taken out protesting against the relentless campaign of air raids that the state of Israel has unleashed with the help of American weapons, because the Americans, remember, continue to pump in more and more weapons that are being given into Israeli hands, which are then subsequently being dropped over the Palestinian territory of Gaza. The death toll in the Gaza Strip is nearing the 4,000 mark. Now, there are dozens of protests that have been held outside the Israeli embassy in places such as in Santiago in Chile in support of the people of Palestine in Gaza. Separately, bodies of 8 Thai victims who were killed in Israel have also been brought back home via an Israeli commercial flight. The Thai government officials held a ceremony marking the return of the slain Thai citizens, which was also attended by the Israeli ambassador. And according to Thailand's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, at least about 30 Thai citizens have been killed from Hamas's attacks, while 16 were injured and 17 others reportedly were abducted. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of the diplomatic efforts that are being conducted in order to try and reach some kind of an agreement on the people who have been taken hostage by Hamas and also a potential ceasefire and for humanitarian aid being allowed into the Gaza Strip, we're being joined by Mr. Volker Stanzel, who's a former German ambassador to China and Japan. He's joining us live from Berlin at this moment. The ambassador, we've witnessed this horrific conflict that is now dragged on for about a fortnight now, and there are at least about 200 people who are said to be in the custody of Hamas. At this moment, there are 22 ambassadors who have also said that it is important to try and get these hostages released. Do you think the state of Israel and also the United States and the international community has done enough to try and secure the release of the hostages who are presently in Hamas's custody?
Well, the state of Israel in the past at one point exchanged, I think it was 5,000 of its Palestinian prisoners against one hostage taken by the Hezbollah. So it seems the state of Israel, under the pressure of its public, obviously, and out of humanitarian concern, is ready to go a long way. But whose interest is it to keep the hostages or to allow them to go free? Obviously, Hamas has taken hostages with a purpose. That is to keep human shields, not only its own population, as it has done in the past and is doing presently, but also in the future. And the number of hostages goes to show that Hamas is really using this tool that it has discovered to the utmost it can get out of it. Now, what else can Israel do? It can, of course, start the ground war. that you've been speaking about. But if it does so, the risk for the civilian population and the hostages as well is immense. So I think the ground war will not start all too soon, and not in a way that all humanitarian concerns are laid aside. So you see from my reply that I'm pretty helpless myself in finding a way how to get the hostages out.
Now, do you think at this point of time, can any negotiations be held? Because at this point of time, what is happening is Israel, as a part of its strategy, has carried out its relentless campaign of air raids and air bombings on the Gaza Strip. The death toll continues to rise. Should there be negotiations to first get the Israeli hostages out and then continue with this operation?
Well, the Israeli hostages and the international hostages, of course. That is why you have so many ambassadors involved in this effort to commence negotiations with Hamas. But what price to pay to Hamas? Hamas would have to give up its human shields, and then it would be subject to even more relentless fights and aggressions by Israel.
Right.
And do you think Israel would forego the possibility to decapitate Hamas, as it has called its objective? I think the price that Hamas would have to ask for giving the hostages free is too high for the international community to pay.
All right. My last quick final question to you, Ambassador, because we're running out of time, is, there have been indications that this war could in fact spiral well beyond the boundaries of Gaza Strip. There has been a Houthi missile that has been intercepted by the Americans, and there is tension that is going up along Israel's border with Lebanon. What do you think, in your assessment, is the likelihood that this war could now spill beyond the borders of Gaza?
That would be in the interest of Hamas. It would not be in the interest of Hezbollah. And it would also, I think, not be in the interest of Iran, because it would involve the Americans, and that would make the war go to another level, which would be extremely risky for the parties involved. So I do not think there is a danger, of course, of the enlargement of the war, but I cannot see it come right around the corner.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Ambassador, for joining us and getting us those insights then.
You're welcome.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.